we're going to explain the type error, object of type response is not JSON serializable error in Python frameworks. This error pops up when you try to convert a request response object directly into JSON format, using functions like JSON dumps, or similar methods within frameworks like Flask or Django. The problem is that the request response object contains much more information than just the JSON data within the response. It includes things like status codes, headers, and the raw content, not all of which are easily convertible to a standard JSON structure. Therefore, to fix this, you need to extract the relevant JSON data from the response object before attempting serialization. Here's how you can handle this issue. 1. Accessing the JSON content. The key is to use the JSON Serializable method provided by the requests library. This method parses the response content and returns a Python dictionary or list, depending on the structure of the JSON data received from the server. So, instead of trying to convert the response object itself, you should first extract this data using response.json. 2. Error handling. Before calling .json, it's crucial to check the response status code. Ensure the request was successful, usually a status code of 200. A failed request might not even contain valid JSON data. Attempting to use JSON on a failed response will usually cause an error. Implement error handling with a try-except block to catch potential issues. If the status code indicates failure, handle it appropriately. Log the error, return an error message to the user, or take other corrective action. 3. Example in Flask, or similar framework. Imagine you're making a request in a Flask application. A typical incorrect approach would be return JSONify requests to get URL JSON John. This will most likely result in the error. The correct way is to first fetch the response, check the status code, and then extract the JSON data. Python import request from Flask import JSONify at app.route /data. Def get data. Try response equals requests. Get your API endpoint. Response. Raise for status. Hash. Raises an exception for bad status codes, 4xx or 5xx. Data equals response. JSON. Return JSONify data. Accept requests. Exceptions. Request exception as E. Return JSONify while error S*E. 500 nouns. Handle network or other request errors, except JSON. JSON decode error, as E, return JSONify error, invalid JSON response. 400 man, handle JSON decoding errors. 4. Example in Django. The principles remain the same in Django. After making the request in your view, you would similarly check the response status code and then use response.json before passing the data to your template, or returning it as a JSON response using Django's JSON response. Make sure to handle potential exceptions appropriately to prevent crashes. By following these steps, fetching the response, validating the status code, using the JSON method for extraction, and incorporating error handling, you can effectively prevent the type error, object of type response is not JSON serializable error, and build more robust Python applications. Always prioritize checking the response status code and handling potential exceptions for a reliable application.